Welcome to Whispers in the Dark, a channel where hidden truths and dark mysteries come to light. Tonight we explore one of America's most contentious true crime cases, the tragic story of Caylee Anthony and the death of her daughter, Caylee Anthony. Orlando, Florida is a city celebrated for its magic and excitement, but behind its dazzling lights lies a shadowy tale that has haunted the nation since the summer of 2008. Before we begin, if you're drawn to investigations that peel back layers of deception and sorrow, please like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Orlando is a city of stark contrasts. While tourists flock to world-class attractions, everyday residents experience life in a city that balances glamour with hidden struggles. Amidst this vibrant backdrop, the Anthony family lived a seemingly ordinary life. But as we soon discover, even the most mundane settings can harbor the seeds of tragedy. George and Cindy Anthony prided themselves on their close-knit family values. George, a former law enforcement officer, embodied discipline and duty, while Cindy was fiercely protective, ensuring her family's safety. Their daughter, Caylee Anthony, born on March 19, 1986, projected a charismatic, carefree persona. Yet those closest to her sensed a complexity, a penchant for embellishing the truth. Then there was Caylee Marie Anthony, born on August 9, 2005, a bright, joyful toddler whose laughter once lit up their home. Her innocence was destined to be shattered by the events that would follow. June 16, 2008, began like any other day in Orlando. The heat was palpable, and the city was alive with routine activity. On that morning, Caylee Anthony departed from her childhood home with her daughter Caylee. Caylee explained that she was taking Caylee to a daycare arrangement with a nanny known as Zenaida Zani Fernandez Gonzalez. Yet even then, subtle doubts began to surface. As the day passed without incident, it seemed nothing was amiss, but behind the ordinary facade, a nightmare was quietly unfolding. For 31 long days, Caylee was missing, while the community went on with life. The Anthony household became a place of increasing anxiety. Caylee offered shifting explanations. Caylee was safe with the nanny, or traveling with family friends. Yet each day deepened the silence until a fateful call on July 15, 2008, shattered the facade.
There's something wrong. I found my daughter's car today, and it smells like there's been a dead body in the car. I have someone here that I need to be arrested in my home.
They're there right now?
I have a possible missing child. I called a little bit ago, the deputy sheriff's son here. I found out my granddaughter has been taken. She has been missing for a month. Her mother finally admitted that she's been missing. My daughter finally admitted that the baby's in the store. I need to find her.
Your daughter admitted that the baby is where?
But the babysitter took her months ago that my daughter's been looking for. I told
Following Cindy's call, law enforcement mobilized with urgency. The investigation zeroed in on Caylee's car, which emanated a nauseating odor, a smell later identified as human decomposition. Inside the trunk, investigators discovered a bag of trash. Yet hidden among ordinary items were subtle clues, traces of duct tape, microscopic fibers, and chemical residues that hinted at deliberate tampering. Forensic teams worked tirelessly, cataloging every detail. Digital records revealed a disturbing element: multiple computer searches for chloroform, a substance capable of rendering a person unconscious. Although technical debates would later arise over the frequency of these searches, at the time, they added a chilling dimension to the case. Central to Caylee's narrative was the elusive figure of Zenaida Zani Fernandez Gonzalez. According to Caylee, this nanny was entrusted with Caylee's care. Yet when authorities sought to verify her existence, they found no credible records. Zenaida had seemingly vanished without a trace. This glaring discrepancy only fueled suspicions that the story was a carefully constructed lie, designed to mask a darker truth. As the investigation deepened, the media seized upon every detail. Orlando became engulfed in a digital maelstrom, with hashtags like "Where is Caylee" and "Justice for Caylee" trending across platforms. Television networks and online forums exploded with debate, each new piece of evidence scrutinized and dissected. Amid this frenetic environment, the digital footprint left by Casey, those unsettling searches for chloroform, became a potent symbol of possible premeditation. Every scrap of evidence, whether physical or digital, contributed to a narrative that painted a disturbing picture of deception and neglect. With each new discovery, investigators faced mounting contradictions, a web of half-truths that obscured the reality behind Caylee's disappearance. The relentless media attention, while adding pressure to the investigation, also blurred the lines between objective inquiry and sensationalism. In the weeks following Cindy's distress call, the inconsistencies in Casey's story grew too glaring to ignore. On July 29, 2008, amidst rising public pressure and overwhelming evidence, Caylee Anthony was finally arrested. During intense interrogations, her narrative began to crumble. She alternated between claims of a kidnapping by the phantom nanny and excuses for her silence. Each contradiction served as a crack in the carefully constructed facade, prompting law enforcement to pursue the truth with renewed vigor. Casey's arrest marked a critical turning point, shifting the focus of the investigation from a missing child to a broader inquiry into a tangled web of lies that would soon lead to one of the most controversial trials in American history. In May 2011, the stage was set for a trial that would grip the nation. Inside the Orange County Courthouse, every detail was scrutinized. The courtroom buzzed with anticipation as legal teams from both sides prepared to present their case. The prosecution, led by Assistant State Attorney Linda Burdick, presented a damning narrative that Caylee Anthony deliberately engineered the death of her daughter, Caylee, in a calculated attempt to free herself from the burdens of motherhood. They pointed to the repugnant odor in the car, the mysterious digital searches for chloroform, and the inexplicable absence of any evidence of the alleged nanny as pieces of a disturbing puzzle. In response, the defense, spearheaded by Jose Baez, argued that the evidence was circumstantial, a collection of coincidences and flawed forensic interpretations. They maintained that the only plausible explanation was an accidental drowning, a tragedy compounded by a panicked attempt to cover up the error. The courtroom became a battleground of conflicting narratives, each side presenting its interpretation of the evidence with impassioned intensity. Throughout the trial, heartfelt testimonies from the Anthony family laid bare the personal cost of the tragedy. George and Cindy Anthony recalled a daughter and granddaughter whose lives were once full of promise, lives that were irrevocably altered by a series of unthinkable events. Law enforcement officers and forensic experts detailed their findings: the disquieting odor in the car, the digital footprints, and the minute forensic evidence that suggested more than mere negligence. During cross-examinations, Jose Baez skillfully challenged the prosecution's case, questioning the reliability of the digital evidence and the interpretation of the forensic data. His pointed inquiries cast doubt on the prosecution's narrative, highlighting gaps and inconsistencies that left room for reasonable doubt. Every question, every pause, was laden with significance, as the jury grappled with two conflicting versions of events, a struggle that would eventually culminate in a verdict that left the nation divided. On the final day, the closing arguments distilled the essence of the case into two diametrically opposed narratives. Assistant State Attorney Linda Burdick implored the jury to view the cumulative evidence as proof of a deliberate, cold-blooded act, one that cost a young child her life. In contrast, Jose Baez urged the jurors to consider the significant uncertainties and gaps in the evidence, arguing that the case against Caylee Anthony was built on circumstantial details that could not conclusively prove guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. After days of intense deliberation on July 5, 2011, the jury delivered its verdict. Caylee Anthony was found not guilty of first-degree murder, aggravated manslaughter of a child, and aggravated child abuse. But she was convicted on 4 misdemeanor counts of providing false information to law enforcement. The verdict sent shockwaves across the nation. For many, it felt like a miscarriage of justice, a failure to hold accountable a mother who, according to the prosecution's narrative, had orchestrated a series of unspeakable acts. For others, it reinforced the principle that guilt must be proven beyond a reasonable doubt, no matter how emotional the case may be. In the wake of the verdict, the public was left grappling with profound questions. Caylee Anthony's release on July 17, 2011, sparked outrage and disbelief as debates raged on about the reliability of circumstantial evidence and the complexities of justice in high-profile cases. The trial did more than determine a legal outcome. It ignited discussions about the influence of media, the ethics of digital evidence, and the challenges of reconciling objective truth with emotional narratives. The case of Caylee Anthony remains a source of deep pain for many, a poignant reminder that sometimes the pursuit of justice leaves more questions than answers. For those who lost a bright light too soon, the trial is a memory etched in sorrow, a legacy of a child whose life, though tragically short, continues to inspire calls for greater accountability and compassion in our justice system. The Caylee Anthony trial was not just a legal battle, it became a media spectacle. The relentless coverage, the sensational headlines, and the heated social media debates transformed the case into a cultural phenomenon. This media frenzy, often criticized for blurring the lines between fact and emotion, played a significant role in shaping public perception, ensuring that the case would remain in the collective consciousness for years to come. Even today, discussions about the case are fueled by media narratives that emphasize the most dramatic details, sometimes at the expense of the complex reality behind the evidence. The power of the media in influencing our understanding of justice is a reminder of how narratives can both reveal and obscure the truth. As our journey into the Caylee Anthony case draws to a close, we are left with enduring questions that challenge our understanding of truth, justice, and human nature. The tragic death of Caylee Anthony is more than a headline. It is a profound loss that reverberates through the lives of all those touched by the case. The unresolved mysteries, the conflicting narratives, and the stark realities of forensic evidence continue to inspire debate and reflection. For some, the case is a call to re-examine our legal processes and media practices. For others, it is a painful reminder of a system that sometimes fails to deliver the closure we so desperately seek. Thank you for joining us on this in-depth exploration of the Caylee Anthony case, a story that even after years remains shrouded in mystery and sorrow. If you believe in the relentless pursuit of truth and the importance of remembering those whose voices have been silenced, please like this video, subscribe to Whispers in the Dark, and hit the notification bell to stay updated on our latest investigations. In the end, the quest for justice is not just about resolving a single case. It is about honoring the memory of those we have lost and ensuring that even in our darkest moments, the light of truth endures.